Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is The Fertile, and my name, of course, is Felicia Ali. Today, we want to discuss breastfeeding, and we have a guest here with us who will be telling us about breastfeeding. She is Dr. Kede Ibiang with the public health sector. You're welcome to the studio, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
It's such a great pleasure to have you
Super
here.
glad to be here.
Yes, today we want to talk about breastfeeding. We know breastfeeding is about mother and baby. Can you walk us through the rudiments, involved in breastfeeding, what breastfeeding is and why it is important to breastfeed a baby?
Okay. Breastfeeding essentially is how a mother feeds her newborn
Her
child.
baby, yes.
With milk from the breast.
Yes.
So whether she's giving this child the milk directly from the breast, or she's expressing this milk and the milk is fed to the child.
Yes.
As long as it is breast milk that is being fed to the child, that child is being breastfed.
That's what breastfeeding
Absolutely.
is. So why is it important now to breastfeed a baby?
So we already know that nutrition is important for everyone. We need food to survive.
Definitely.
Now, for little children, for newborn children, breast milk is the most important form of nutrition that they need. So it is essential for brain development. It's essential for development of their immune system.
Okay.
It's essential for, all-round growth and development. If you want a healthy child, breastfeeding is very essential.
Very essential. That would take me to the benefits now. You were talking about breastfeeding being essential for brain development. Other than that, why else do babies need breast milk? Why can't I just go to, a shop and then get baby formula and, it's still milk. You can still give this to the baby, but why is breast milk more beneficial compared to formula and every other milk you can give the baby?
Okay, so breast milk it's an all-rounder.
Okay.
Right? Breast milk contains vitamins, minerals, nutrients, fats, water. Pretty much everything that the child needs for their nutrition.
Okay.
So particularly the very first breast milk that comes out from the breast for the first few days.
Okay.
That's called colostrum.
Okay.
Contains very essential nutrients for the child. So it's always advised that the mother ensures that breast milk is gotten by the child.
And
then in addition to that, the fact that breast milk contains all the 6 classes of food, including water, makes it
that's amazing, really.
Easy and cost effective. So you do not need to go spend extra money to buy formula and buy feeding utensils to feed your child.
To feed the baby. When you can just easily breastfeed
this child. So except in cases where the mother cannot feed or the mother is not available to breastfeed the child, please, exclusive breastfeeding is very important.
Yes, so for how long is it advisable to, breastfeed a baby? Babies will, live on milk for a period, and then before they start introducing solids or semi-solids now. So how long should people breastfeed a baby before introducing solids or semi-solid food?
Okay, so exclusive breastfeeding, we advise 6 months.
Okay.
So for the first 6 months of the child's life, just
breast milk. No other thing
water,
except
no
breast
formula,
milk. Okay.
Nothing. As long as you are producing adequate milk for the child, and the child is not hungry after your feeds, then your breast milk is satisfying the child, and you should do that for 6 months.
So let me ask this now: how many hours interval should you be breastfeeding? How frequent should you breastfeed the baby? Because I know it's just liquid and it's very light, and I think it digests very easily. Yes. So how would that sustain a baby?
Breast milk, well, it has water and fat. So if you leave breast milk to stand, you'll see that it has a water component that is at the top part, and you'll see the fatty parts,
saturated
just settles, to the bottle, to the bottom of the bottle. So it's not just water.
It's not just water. So it's not as light as we look.
It's not as light as you think.
Okay.
Yes. But you should breastfeed a newborn child every 1 to 2 hours.
Every 1 to 2 hours.
Essentially, yes.
Okay. So now I actually saw a situation in a hospital where a newborn, and then the baby kept on sleeping and sleeping and sleeping for hours, and the lady said the nurses told her to allow the baby to sleep. So, immediately the baby came into the ward, they cleaned the baby, dressed the baby, and then the baby started sleeping, and the mother had not fed the baby for 8 hours.
Wow.
And then another nurse came. I was like, when last did you feed this baby? And she was like, she has not fed the baby. Why would you allow your baby to sleep that long? She was like, she fed, she's a quiet baby, it's a very peaceful baby, so we didn't feed. So is it advisable to leave a baby for that long without, giving the baby meal immediately the baby is born?
First, that's a very dangerous thing to do.
Okay.
Because you have deprived that child of nutrients and energy for the first few hours of the child's life.
Okay.
That could hamper the child's brain development
wow.
and their performance subsequently in life.
Oh, wow.
So whether or not this child is crying and
Or
looking
not.
for food, if the child is sleeping, you wake the child up and
to
feed the child.
Okay.
Right? So even if you feed now and then the child goes to sleep, babies will sleep for over 18 hours a day usually. You wake the child up and you
To
feed the child.
Okay.
And then you can let the child go back to sleep. But make sure that you are feeding at least every 2 hours.
At least every 2 hours. And immediately a baby is born, the baby
You
should
have
be
to
fed within the first 1 hour or 2 hours
Yes.
of life. Okay.
Most times they put the baby to breast immediately after. As long as the mother is in good health and
Okay.
is able to feed, you feed the child immediately. So there's a clause to that. If the mother maybe underwent a cesarean section, she's not able to feed at the moment, or she's not lactating and she's not producing breast milk yet,
yes,
you have to feed that child somehow. So you can formula feed the child.
Okay, for
the
just
first
that
few
period.
hours or the first few days
Okay.
until the mother is able to produce milk
to
and is
feed.
lactating, and then you can now continue with breast
milk because it is very, very beneficial
Absolutely.
to the newborn. Okay, so now that will take me to my next question. Now, you said if the mother is able to feed, so are there factors that can prevent, a woman from feeding her baby?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the overall health of the mother is also very important.
All right.
So physically, if the mother is strong after the birth process, whether it was a vaginal birth or a cesarean section birth, if the mother is strong enough to feed, that is a possibility that could prevent her from feeding the child immediately.
Okay.
And then there's also the mental health aspect. Some women experience postpartum anxiety or postpartum depression.
Okay.
Right? And then that puts them in a state of mind where they're not able to feed the child
baby
immediately. So those kind of factors, there are factors where the mother might not even be conscious yet after the surgery, and in very unfortunate situations, maybe the mother's life was lost.
Okay.
So they have to find other ways to. So you buy formula and you feed the baby.
Somehow the baby has to be fed. Okay, so now you mentioned that is either the baby is fed directly from the breast or it can be expressed and stored up to feed the baby. Yeah. Now, medically speaking, is it advisable to express breast milk and stop for a baby? And how long can you, or is it advisable to store breast milk?
Okay. There are lots of situations where a mother cannot directly breastfeed a child. For example, you see that maybe a month or 2 months after the mother gave birth, she has to go back to work.
Yes, I was going to come to that.
Maternity leave has come to an end.
Yes.
And she wants to continue exclusively breastfeeding her child. So in that case, if she has help at home, and there's somebody there who can feed the child while she's away at work, then please, absolutely, she should express milk.
And
In
keep for the baby.
In addition to that, some women encounter very engorged breasts where the breasts are very full with milk, and then it becomes painful.
Yeah, exactly.
And probably the child has just finished feeding, and the other breast is engorged, and you're in pain.
And then sometimes you even see the thing starts pouring out. Yes.
So you can express the breast milk and store it.
And store it up.
Yes, there are specific storage conditions. So if you are storing it in room temperature at home,
you
shouldn't store it for more than 4 hours, like sitting on the table in room temperature.
Okay.
You shouldn't store for
more than 4 hours.
Yes.
So after 4 hours, it's not advisable to give it to baby.
To feed that milk to the baby.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so doctor, from the beginning, you mentioned that breast milk can either be done, by feeding the baby directly or storing up for the baby. Now, I'm thinking, medically speaking, is it advisable to store up breast milk for a baby? And if that's okay, how long is it advisable to store for?
Okay. I mentioned there are several conditions that can prevent a mother from directly feeding the child. So if the mother is unavailable, if she has to resume work, if she's absent for a couple of hours, the child still has to be fed.
Yes.
And if we're doing an exclusive breastfeeding, then it has to be breast milk that the child is fed. Yes, so you can express breast milk in these situations. There are some breast pumps that are very useful for this process. And then if you are storing expressed breast milk, you can store it in room temperature at home, maybe just on a table at home. But you can only store that for 4 hours.
For 4 hours. So after 4 hours, you should. It's not advisable to feed the baby that.
That because the breast milk may have deteriorated.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
If you are storing it in the refrigerator, you can store in the refrigerator for up to 4 days.
Okay.
As long as you have constant electricity.
I was coming to that part.
Yes.
In a country where we have, let me not use the word epileptic power supply now, but
Yeah.
I mean, we all know the situation in Nigeria with
Yes.
power. So
Yes.
if you have a refrigerator that light is in for, power is in for an hour and then it's gone for another 3 or 4 hours, is that advisable?
No,
It's
because
not.
the temperature of the refrigerator will drop below
drop,
the required
yes.
temperature. We know refrigerator temperature is probably around, I think maybe 8 to 10 degrees Celsius or
yes.
12. So if you are able to maintain the coldness of the refrigerator, if you are able to maintain that stability, then you can keep the breast milk in the refrigerator.
For how many? 4 days?
4 days.
For 4 days,
So
okay.
try to keep, if there's no light, maybe you have to put on your generator just to get the
But as
fridge
long as it
to-
is kept refrigerated
Yes,
for
and the
4
temperature of
days.
the refrigerator is not the temperature of the room.
Definitely.
Yes. And then in the freezer, you can store for up to 6 months.
Oh, okay. For that
Well,
long?
Outside Nigeria, you can actually store 12 months because there's
There's
constant
constant
electricity.
yes.
So you can store 6 months as long as it stays frozen. You can't defrost and refreeze.
Refreeze and reuse.
Yes,
Okay, so
you can't do that.
when you're packing, you should
You
make
have to pack it in sizable small amounts
That can be
such that when you
consumed,
take out
okay,
one
completely.
or two for the day and you defrost that, you cannot refreeze it to put it back in the fridge. So you have to
okay.
finish that.
that.
You have
But
to
is
finish
it
that
that
amount.
once you defrost, you use it at a go, or you can just defrost and use it for the day then?
You can defrost and use for the day. So
For the
you take
day,
it out
okay.
of there. I think there are packs that come with the breast pump these days. But some
Okay.
people still store it in the feeding bottles that we
yes,
know.
okay.
So you can defrost that with warm water. So you shouldn't microwave. breast
Oh, okay.
milk. It will
Not
destroy
putting
the
it.
nutrients.
Okay.
Don't boil it.
Don't boil it.
It's
okay.
warm water. So you can
Okay.
either run it under a tap with warm water.
Warm water.
Or you put warm water in
In a bowl and
then
drop
put
it
in
in.
the sachet
Okay.
or the bottle and let it warm up the milk. And then you test the temperature and be sure it's not too hot.
Before feeding
Yes.
the baby.
So if you do that defrosting process, you can keep the one that you have defrosted
Yes.
on the table
Okay.
for that 4 hours.
4 hours.
After which you cannot feed that to the child
To the
again.
baby, okay.
Yes. So these temperatures are important. The length of time is also important.
Very important.
Yes.
Okay,
these are
so
very important.
if you're keeping it frozen, it can stay for up to 6
6
months.
months.
So for like we're saying, for like a mother who has to go back to work
Yes.
now, before resumption, she can start, expressing and storing up in
Absolutely.
the freezer.
Yes.
Okay,
So that she has
that's
enough supply between the time when she resumes
while
work.
she's away.
Yes.
Okay, that is
Yes.
very, very informative.
Yes.
Now, we talked about benefits of breast milk. Now, I want you to, put in more emphasis
Okay.
regarding the benefits of breast milk to the child and the mother. Does it have benefit? Is it
Absolutely.
beneficial
It
to
has
the mother
benefits
as
to the
well?
mother as well.
Okay.
Yes. For the child, I mentioned enhanced brain
development, yes.
There are nutrients and minerals in breast milk that you may not be able to completely, so you cannot supplement those with baby formula.
Okay.
Yes, you may not be able to completely
I
supplement
mean,
those
this is
with baby
natural
formula. So
and
those nutrients
it's
are
amazing
in breast
how-
milk, the body.
yes.
Just the beautiful.
Yeah, I'm
physiological makeup
amazed.
of
Like,
the
really,
body.
it has all of that nutrients that a
Yes.
child
Yes.
needs. Okay.
Everything, including water, like I mentioned, the 6
Classes of food.
and
So
water.
it means that everything the mother eats is what the
Yes.
baby gets.
Yes.
Okay.
So vitamins, minerals, fats and
proteins and
oil,
all.
protein, water, all of those are in breast milk already. So
Okay.
it gives the baby adequate nutrition. So enhances brain development, helps the immune system of the child. So the child will not be prone to all these small respiratory diseases, this little cough and
Cough and-
catarrh,
okay.
all the purging, all these abdominal conditions that maybe cause the child to either start having loose stools or discolored
Okay,
stools. So it
okay.
prevents those kind of occurrences because it builds the immune system of the child.
of the baby.
It also protects the respiratory system of the child, so the
Okay.
child will not come down with any form
Flu.
of allergies or
Okay.
flus even later in life because the respiratory system, the immune system has been built up. Those are just benefits to the
Benefits
child.
to the child.
For the mother, it helps with weight gain,
Okay.
weight loss rather.
Okay.
So the weight that was gained during the pregnancy
Pregnancy
period,
period.
breastfeeding is a calorie burner, if I can call it that.
Okay.
Because you hear from women who are breastfed that it takes a lot of energy and strength to breastfeed, and when you're done, you're tired.
But that's like an irony because when you're breastfeeding, I've seen women who are breastfeeding and they use that as an excuse to eat more, and then they'll tell you, "I'm breastfeeding, I'm eating for two, so let me," and then I feel when you do that, gaining more weight.
You should eat adequately, but don't eat like a glutton.
Honestly, people use that as an excuse to say I'm
Yes.
breastfeeding, so I need to eat more because it is what I'm eating the baby is getting, so I should eat more, I should eat more.
One
So when you're
advice-
eating more like that, are you not going to lose weight?
You
Or
can
gain weight,
advise them
rather.
to portion their meals.
Okay.
So they don't necessarily have to eat 3 meals a day. They can portion their meals into 5, 6 meals a day.
Okay.
But the portions should be reasonable.
And
Don't
eat-
load a whole plate and then eat 6 times a day and say
Okay, you're
I'm eating for 2.
Okay.
You will keep adding weight because you are not even at a calorie deficit, not to talk of a plateau.
Okay, so you also
So
eat healthy.
You eat healthy and
Okay.
you eat reasonably sized meals.
Okay.
Don't overeat because you are saying that you're breastfeeding.
Okay.
So as long as you are eating right and you are breastfeeding the child, it helps with losing a good chunk of the pregnancy
fat,
weight and
okay.
the baby fat that comes with that. Also, in a good number of women, it is a natural contraceptive.
I heard that from somebody.
Yes.
I wanted to confirm. I wanted
Yes.
you to confirm it as a
Yes.
doctor because for some people they say while they are breastfeeding, they
do
don't
not start ovulating or menstruating,
exactly.
so they are not able to get
to get
pregnant
pregnant.
within the period. So if you are exclusively breastfeeding and you are maintaining that exclusive breastfeeding, in a number of women, it postpones
Not
the
for
onset,
everybody.
not for everybody.
Okay.
There are women who exclusively breastfeed and still their period returns 2-3 months after
birth. Okay.
Yes, but there are some women who are lucky, in quotes, to have that. So it prevents the early onset or the return of your
the
ovulation and
menstrual
menstruation.
Period. Okay.
So to maybe about 6-7 months after.
Okay.
Yes, after
All
birth.
right. From all that the doctor has said, we can see that breast milk is the ideal meal for infants. It is the only food that an infant should have. No water, nothing else, at least for the first 6 months. It is safe, clean, and it contains antibodies which will help protect a baby from many common diseases like she has mentioned. It has all the nutrients that a baby needs for the first months of life. So let's encourage breastfeeding. We're going to go on the quick break now. When we return, we will continue from where we stop. Please stay tuned.